I had this habit of listening to music through earphones while I work. I think a lot of people do. It even made me sort of enjoy studying, which was a valuable asset to me as a pre-med major. You may have noticed the past tense and are wondering why I stopped listening through earphones. Why, you might even be listening to music while you're listening to this right now. I can't use my earphones now without jumping and looking around every now and then, especially when I hear small noises. Not since what happened 3 months ago. My therapist told me I should record this, and I only agreed because I think everybody should be warned. So here goes. It was 1:30 a.m. on the 1st of April. Yeah, April Fool's Day. Precious few jokes had been played in my friend group that day, to which I was glad I wasn't much of a jokester. That night, I was intent on completing my notes for chapter 10 of my biology textbook. Like I said, pre-med major, it's serious stuff. I'd made a playlist on YouTube just for studying purposes, and sort of like my jam whenever I go to work. I would just throw that on shuffle and plug in my earphones, the cheap kind that doesn't completely block out sound. I did the same that night, humming along to the first song while scribbling things down, and when the song ended, there was a pause. Expected, since some YouTube videos end with silence or start with silence. When the next song hadn't played for 30 seconds, I looked up to check if the playlist was on autoplay. On the screen, there was a video I didn't remember adding to the playlist. It was hazy gray static, like what they would show you if the video didn't exist, but those words weren't there. The title was, "Keep Your Headphones In." I smiled. I knew this would be a practical joke from my friends, some of whom were very tech-savvy, while I myself was completely hopeless. I decided to continue listening while taking notes, so that I could reach the end when they would reveal themselves on screen with "April Fools," just to see what they came up with. There was a silence for one more minute and a few seconds before I heard it. A rasping sound, like someone trying to speak who hadn't spoken or drank water for years. A little wheezing followed, and I was a bit scared, but I knew my friends were trying to scare me. After all, I was the resident scaredy cat of the group. Boy, was I excited to tell them that they couldn't fool me afterwards. There was silence for a few seconds in, and heavy breathing joined the symphony. It just sounded like an old man who was out of breath, but with razor blades in his throat. There was some kind of scraping noise in the background. It was very weird, and I wondered how they made that sound. At about 2:45, there was a loud creak, like a door opening. It sounded so real that I actually pulled my eyes away from my textbook to look at my dorm door. But it was closed tight, obviously. I sighed. This noise was driving me insane. Then came the scratching. The breathing, or whatever the hell it was, it became more erratic, interrupted with something like long fingernails against wood, maybe even cat's claws. I was finding it harder and harder to concentrate on my work, but I didn't want to give in and admit to being scared. I checked the video. Goodness, there were 10 more minutes left. I didn't have time for this. I decided to shut it off and go visit my good friend who lived down the hall, whom I was sure was behind this, to tell her that it was a good joke. Realizing my heart rate was actually faster, I pulled out the earphones and sat back. I took a few deep breaths and forced myself to smile. It was just a joke, although a pretty scary one. I looked back at the screen. It had turned black. As I stared at my earphones on the desk, I heard it. The scratching sound. Keep Your Earphones In by Crazydaisy.